final year student can have a seat and they can request other final years to join. Okay, call other batchmates who are more interested. So be careful for this camera.
Welcome to your alma mater. You should be welcome too. Yeah.
Yes, you are also in the queue.
Yeah. You're part of the guest community. Yeah. Come on.
He's the honoree.
No, but I think all of you are welcome.
Sorry we're late. This time is pretty because of the school timings and all.
Come, ma'am. Come. Please come. Yeah, please come. Come.
Yes, please.
Come together. Yeah. Come. I come that way. आप वेट करना थोड़ा सर कम सर
I'm basically posted in university.
Okay.
Employee of university. I did posted. Please come. Jai sir.
Hi. Hello.
Professor Piyush Gupta.
Yes, of course, of course.
Nice meeting you. Welcome.
Nice meeting you.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Welcome home.
Sorry, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, yes.
Our
Ma'am,
medical director, Professor Ashmita Rathore of the GTB Hospital.
Actually, wonderful.
So we are the two contemporaries holding the two offices.
Yes, thank you for having us very much.
It's our pleasure. इधर फोटो किधर
हाँ
खींचना
सर
है?
यहाँ हाँ ऐसा है
Seema is also alumni, UCMS.
Andrew.
And yes, yeah.
Nice meeting you. Welcome. Dhruv. Okay, okay. I was thinking the name was written as I thought कि सर ने अंग्रेजी नाम रख लिया है.
No. This is Marty and
Hi.
John from my office, and that's Gary.
Nice meeting you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. I am Piyush.
And that's, of course, your
Shan, you know.
Yes.
We were buddies, stayed together for 9 years.
I know. We were talking about this. We were talking about this morning. Yeah. Great.
We move in? Aye. Please.
Yes, yes.
It's a real pleasure to have you. Ma'am, I think, please. We can come.
Come on.
You're also a medical student?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. Where?
At Harvard. I'm in my
Great.
fourth year.
Please come.
When did you arrive?
On Sunday, early morning.
What over the jet lag?
I didn't have a choice because we started working, and then
As
Sunday,
soon as you landed.
yeah, all the work, and then Sunday 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. here, I did 20 interviews in 350 media markets in US. Okay, about the president's meeting with Chinese presidents, so all of that. So there's almost every.
You're wearing an Indian dress. Isn't it? Huh? That's lovely.
Marty's been trying out different dresses.
Yes, I have.
Okay. I thought Seema motivated us.
Yeah, no. They tried to do it.
Black crystal water.
Welcome to your alma mater.
get in there. You should be welcome too. Yeah.
Yes, you are also in the queue.
Yeah. You're part of the guest community. Yeah. Come on.
He's the honoree.
No, but I think all of you are welcome.
Sorry we were late. This time is pretty because of the school timings and all.
Come, ma'am. Come. Please come. Yeah, please come. Come.
Yes,
Come together. Yeah. Come.
रोज तो आते नहीं सर, ऐसा तो है नहीं. Once a while.
Upgrade करना तो. Sir, come, sir.
We were the first batch to be in this building. Yeah.
So I've been here in the college in the last 1.5 years.
Okay.
But I'm basically posted in university.
Okay.
Employee of University Agriculture. Please come. Jain sir.
Hi. Hello.
Professor Piyush Gupta.
Yes, of course.
Nice meeting you. Welcome.
Nice meeting you as
Welcome.
well. Thank you.
Welcome home.
Sorry, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, yes.
Our medical director, Professor Ashmita Rathore of the GTB Hospital.
Actually, wonderful.
So we are the two contemporaries holding the two offices.
Yes, thank you for having us very, very much.
It's our pleasure. इधर फोटो किधर
हाँ
खींचना
सर
है?
यहाँ ऐसा
Seema ji,
Also
namaste.
alumni, UCMS.
And Drew.
And yes, yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Dhruv, sir.
Welcome. Dhruv. Okay. I was thinking the name was written as I thought कि सर ने अंग्रेजी नाम रख लिया है.
No. This is Marty and
Hi.
John from my office, and that's Gary.
Nice meeting you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. I am Piyush.
And that's of course your
Shan, you know,
Yes.
we were buddies, stayed together for
Yes.
9 years.
I know. We were talking about this. We were talking about this morning. Yeah. Great.
We move in? Aye. Please. It's a real pleasure to have you. Ma'am, I think, please. We can come.
Come on.
You're also a medical student?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. Where?
At Harvard. I'm in my
Great.
fourth year. Yeah.
Please come.
When did you arrive?
You know, I didn't have a choice because we started working and then
As
Sunday,
soon as you landed and
I mean, yeah, all the work and then Sunday 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. here, I did 20 interviews in 350 media markets in US, okay, about the president's meeting with Chinese presidents, so all of that. So, you know, there's almost every
you're wearing an Indian dress. Isn't it? Huh? That's lovely.
already been trying out different dresses.
Yes, I have.
Okay. I thought Seema motivated us.
Yeah, no. They tried it. It was
Oh.
Like with some water.
Homecoming is not just about returning, it's about rekindling the passion that set us on our extraordinary path. Good afternoon, everyone. We are delighted to welcome our distinguished alumnus, Dr. Rahul Gupta, sir, 1988 batch of UCMS. Currently holding the post of Director, Office of National Drug Control Policy, the White House, USA, and Senior Advisor to the President of the United States. A very warm welcome. He is the first medical doctor to serve as the Director of the National Drug Control Policy and lead the Office of National Drug Control Policy, a component of the Executive Office of the President. He is accompanied by his family, his wife, Dr. Seema, who is also an alumnus of batch 1988 of UCMS. And his son, Dhruv. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Rahul Gupta, sir, and Dr. Piyush Gupta, sir, to please come up and raise the dais. I would like to inform everyone that the college has now set up an international cell for academic and research collaboration with our principal, Sir Dr. Piyush Gupta, as the chairperson, the secretary, Professor Satyendra Singh, members from academic, Dr. Amitesh Agarwal, from the research, Dr. Arun Sharma, sir, from skill committee, Dr. Prerna Batra ma'am, from medical research unit, Dr. Shukla Das ma'am, from medical education unit, Dr. Khan Amir Maroof, and from the administration, our joint registrar, Mr. S. Rangabashim, sir. This is the first event under that cell. Now I request Dr. Yes, sir. Thank you. Now I request our principal, sir, Dr. Piyush Gupta, to say a few words. Please, sir.
I'll just say a few words because we are here today to learn to the distinguished alumnus, Dr. Rahul Gupta. We are extremely proud of you, sir, and we are thankful to you for making this visit happen. In fact, when the official visited from White House and Embassy day before yesterday to us, they told us that the entire visit was possible only because of UCMS. Because sir wanted to visit UCMS, the other things are only a paraphernalia. So, a big thank to you, and we are really proud, and we love you, sir, and we wish you all the success wherever you are, your family, and we are delighted to have them all, Seema, Dhruv, and we are missing the other identical twin of Dhruv today, and I am sure that the students who are sitting here, they will be really motivated, and we hope that some of you will definitely come up onto this dais 15, 20, 25 years later. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Principal, sir, to welcome Dr. Rahul with a bouquet of flowers. Dr. Satyendra, please join, sir. I will request Principal, sir, to welcome the dignitaries with some flowers. First of all, we are delighted to have Dr. Seema here, who is also an alumnus. So please welcome her with a bouquet of flowers. ask Mr. Dhruv to please join and sir to please give him again a bouquet of flowers.
Thank you.
His So please, Mr. Dhruv. As I am aware, I think he is also pursuing medical graduation. So he is also going to be a doctor very soon.
I promised Dhruv that I'll be gifting some of my books to him.
Now I'll request Dr. Chand Ragdagi to please come up and sir to welcome him.
Chan and Dr. Bindu have been instrumental in getting this visit on board. Myself and Chan, we were roommates, batchmates for 9 years at Banaras Hindu University.
I'd like to request Dr. Divya to come up. So please welcome her.
Thank you, Dr. Vidya. Thank you so much. I must tell you that Dr. Divya and several of other alumni have taken the lead in forming a alumni association at UCMS in United States, and they are going to have their first conference later next year in March 2024. Thank you, Divya. Thank you so much.
Mr. John Unger, please, we'd like to welcome you. Mrs. Unger,
Mr. Unger is accompanied by his wife. Please do come, just for a moment.
Mr. Unger is the White House Executive Office of the President.
John has been instrumental in getting this visit coordinated from the end of the White House and Dr. Rahul Gupta's office. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gary, First Secretary of the U.S. Embassy.
Thank you. He has been instrumental in coordinating from the U.S. Embassy side, because otherwise without him, we would never have got to the Dr. Gupta.
And Dr. Girish Tyagi, sir, from the DMC.
You all know Dr. Girish Tyagi, अगर नहीं जानते हो तो जान लो. Sir has been our alumnus and he is also the registrar of Delhi Medical Council. सबका काम पड़ेगा. अगर मेडिकल काउंसिल में कोई काम अटक रहा है, UCMS के किसी स्टूडेंट का, सर के पास सीधे चले जाना. Sir, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Now I'll request Dr. Girish to come up on the dais and say a few words, sir.
Thank you all. As Dr. Piyush Gupta already told that we are here to listen to Dr. Rahul Gupta. My congratulations to Dr. UCMS and Dr. Rahul Gupta for you. Thank you very much, sir.
And also request Dr. Chand to please come up on the dais and say a few words.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I really welcome you all, and I'm glad to be welcomed here along with Dr. Gupta and Dr. Gupta on the stage. Thank you.
I'm happy that he didn't put my nickname and used to be in the call.
Now I'll request Dr. Rahul Gupta, sir, to give his talk on leadership, education and entrepreneurship, how to foster collaboration between the two countries. Please, sir.
So good afternoon, everybody. All right, more energy. Good afternoon. All right. You know why they close this light and keep that open?
So that they can see who's sleeping.
You all know. I used to be there, so I know. Let me first start out by thanking Professor Piyush Gupta and his leadership, the extraordinary leadership to this school, to the state, to the country, by making sure that some of the best and the brightest in the country are coming out of this school, and doing it in a way that really is remarkable for the country, but for the world, and that's where I bring my perspective to it. I also want to, of course, thank, we've had a chance to meet with the medical director of GTB, and Dr. Grish Tyagi, as well as Dr. Chand. We had a great conversation. Of course, my colleagues here in the United States, John and Marty and Gary and Seema and Dhruv. I also especially want to thank the alumni. Dr. Divya is here, and I can tell you that we communicate with Dr. Nawani, over in the US, and then my classmate that I can't say good enough things about, who has led as the head of the ENT, Dr. Nilma Gupta. Now, there was a lot of Guptas there. Let me say, when I was nominated to this position, which is at the time was like on the list of order of precedence number 17 in the United States government, John asked me, how come there's, how many Guptas there will be in the administration? And I texted him back, I said, not enough. So let me talk a little bit today about this part, and maybe we can have question and answers as well. I'll start out, I was thinking about how do I keep you engaged, but also talk about important things, and then share some of my stories. This is the office. The office was created, the director serves as the principal advisor to the president, coordinates a budget of $43 billion, and writes the strategy. And these are the agencies that we coordinate their budget. So it can be, the fun thing about this job is the first physician, first immigrant physician, first Indian American, all those things in this job is you deal with the health side. You have CDC, HHS, NIH, and others, and you also deal with national security. So you have Department of Defense, Department of Justice, Homeland Security, Postal Service, Education, all of these large federal agencies. And what I do, primarily my responsibility, is to create the president's budget on drug control, but also the strategy that goes behind it. And the president signs this every 2 years, I sign it, and it moves forward. So our two drivers for addiction, mental health / social isolation, are the untreated addiction and the drug trafficking profits. And this becomes the federal policy of the United States for the world. Now let me go back. How do you get there? Because this is important. So let me just explain. First thing that happens is the president has to nominate you on this position, and then you go through a Senate confirmation process. And I will tell you that it's really up, they will ask you all questions from how much money is in each of your bank accounts, how many stocks you own, do you have any children that are not from your wife, and all questions. But you have to answer them truthfully. And once they agree, so I submitted 25,000 pages of my speeches, my talks to the committee, and then I have to do a background because my position is obviously of highest clearance level. So they have to go back all the way to age 18 and find out if I did something maybe I wasn't supposed to do. I'm glad that it is not before 18, because you can't. I'm also glad that, that it came out okay. So, but then what happens is you go and have, once you clear, and that's my hearing in the Senate, you see Dr. Seema Gupta and Dhruv here sitting in the back, maybe it was his twin, and you get asked hard questions publicly. And then you go, once you clear that, you go through in White House to get a oath ceremony. And then you can see one of the West Virginia senators and me walking right after that behind the White House. Is there in the media. You go through all that just to serve. Whereas you can also be making a lot of money and doing a lot of other things at the same time. But then you want to talk about the college journey. How do you get there? Which is very important, which is where you are all right now. So let me tell you. That's the first picture is, the hostel room. We were asking, the warden was asking, what room were you in? I think 423, we decided, in the boys' hostel. So that's like sitting with a Xerox book. I'm bound because couldn't afford to buy the original book. I'm glad, Dr. Gupta, you'll be giving my son some copies of your, hopefully, original book. But yeah, those Xerox copies were like 100 rupees at the time. And you sit there and study, so you don't eat, you don't do anything until the point your beard grows up that way. And you're still sitting, and you're studying, and all of you know how that's like, right? And then you get to a point where you have to compete with your colleagues, right? So if you see this picture, right there in the middle is Dr. Nilima Gupta, roll number 96. And right next to her is another famous alumni of ours, roll number 94. And right there's me, roll number 95. So imagine you have such a smart person going to every Viva before you and one smart one after you. And they're trying to be number one in the class, at least top 70%, because they have, obviously goals, and you're just trying to pass. It's a tough thing. But that this picture is my graduation picture. So, question, what do they call you if you graduate last in your class from medical school? Doctor, right? Doesn't matter. So for those of you who may not be in the top 20%, you have a lot of hope, let me tell you. So you go through all that, and so we move now the journey from school to the White House. And I started out after my residency in Chicago, a place for J1 exchange visa in rural area, in a very small town in Alabama. You can see the point there. And still seeing patients, develop a practice from 0 to 2,500 patients. Did well, but I wanted to learn more. I wanted to understand the systems of the United States. So I joined faculty and I was professor at UAB, which is a large university in Alabama. Then I became professor at Vanderbilt, another university in Meharry in Tennessee. The whole idea was then I went and did my master's in public and health, in health policy and health systems. And then I did my MBA in innovation and technology, nothing to do with health. And the first time that I was able to get my visa cleared, when I didn't have to worry about my visa dictating my job. So we found this great place in a state called West Virginia. So when I saw the job, I was like, where's West Virginia? I had to open the map and look at it. And because we have no connections, so we go in cold. And my kids were about 6th grade. And I didn't know how I would support them to have help move us, because they would be upset. So we put them in a hotel, Marriott, with a very nice breakfast buffet. And I made him promise that if you guys want to move here, I'll take you to the buffet every day if you want. And they agreed, and we moved. And then from local, I was hired to, by two governors, Republican and Democrat, two parties, right and left, to be able to serve as commissioner of the state, commissioner of health. And obviously, drug addiction and problems big in the state, and did a lot of work. But at the same time, I've always continued to see patients. I still do, because that grounds you, if you are able to do it in some way or not. But it is important, and we'll talk about why that's the values. But then the question comes up when I came into the White House, what does an average day at the White House look like? Anybody? What do you think? Anyone can raise your hand. Raise your hand. Louder. What's that? Meetings and meetings, right? The problem is that there is no average day at the White House. I'll give you an example. I went to sleep last night, and we were supposed to take a train tonight. That's why the timing and all that, to go to Vaishno Devi. I woke up, and I have a meeting with the president tonight in the White House in a secured way. So my plans got canceled. So we have to move. So nothing, everything you have to move around, you have to be ready to adjust and move. And none of that becomes normal and everything. So this is why it's important. Now, I will tell you the last time we went to Vaishno Devi what happened. So as we are, my wife Seema and I, we had a train leaving platform at 9 o'clock, New Delhi. And we got there like 8:56. And she saw a train right there when we were entering New Delhi. It said something like Jammu or something. And she said, oh, there it is, we have to go. And it was moving, right? It was moving. I said, okay. So we jumped security. You know there's a security thing you have to pass, Delhi police. We just passed through it, and we start running to grab the train. This was last year. And soon I find out that she's running, the train is moving, getting faster. I'm running behind her. And two Delhi police are running behind us with the whistles blowing. And I very quickly think, like, what do I do? It would not look good for the director of the White House to get arrested here. So very quickly I made an executive decision. I took her purse from me, I said, go jump in. And she jumped in. I threw the purse, I threw my thing, and we get it. Now, of course, you're not in the same cabin you're in, right? So we walk through the whole train, get finally, and we see our seat. And I say to the guy sitting, this is our seat. You know, you've all done that, right? And the person, no, this is our seat. No. So we do the traditional thing of we took out our tickets, they take out their tickets, we start comparing, and it just dawns on me. This is the wrong train. And there's so many people come in like, you should pull the chain and this and that, and giving you ideas. And I'm like, oh my God, that's what happened. So I call my brother, younger brother who's GM at Metro in Mumbai, and very respectful to me, and he gets frustrated. He said, Bhaiya, you gotta understand, this is India. Trains may leave late, but they never leave early. So we somehow managed to negotiate with the TT that we'll get off in like Amritsar, Ludhiana, and we'll swap the other train that's coming, as long as both trains were on time. And we get there. So it's just telling you this is how things happen, even when you don't plan for it. But what does it happen in the White House? So the White House, sometimes you're advancing medicine, and you can see some of these publications, New England Journal and others, We're putting in a tracking system for addiction that doesn't exist, has not existed before. So innovation. And sometimes we're expanding treatment. We published for the first time in the United States in the New England Journal that less than 5% people with addiction are getting treated. Less than 5%. And we have to expand treatment. That led to Congress actions, passage of laws. We went from 120,000 doctors who prescribe treatment to 2 million doctors by changing laws. We expanded telehealth. We expanded a lot of other things because evidence has to drive decision making. Not maybe in your personal life, but in professional life. So my work also involves securing the United States border. So if you look, can you all see okay? Okay. So what do you think is the extreme right picture? It's not fair. You live in the United States. So that's a drug smuggling tunnel made by hand, chiseled. And those are the tracks where you put the drugs, you move them. And those wires, actual tunnel between the United States and Mexico, through which tunnels are shipped. What about the second picture? So that's a Black Hawk helicopter. And that side I'm looking at is Mexico, at the border flying, sea. That's of course Customs Border Protection at the border of the United States. So a lot of the work we do is to help secure the border against trafficking, manufacturing of drugs. And sometimes we're engaging communities to create change. It's important to do that work because we have to work with every community, regardless of their background, creed, race, geography, socioeconomic status, all of those things. So if you see the picture on the right-hand side, this is the Roosevelt room. This is the same room I'm going to have a meeting tonight with the president. And these are all faith leaders of the United States of different faiths we brought together. We're talking about the role of faith in helping communities. And sometimes we have to lead the national conversation. There's a lot of these things happen, whether it's a new frontier of new emerging threats of drugs, whether it's the surveillance, wiretapping program, and other things that we work with Congress to work on. And sometimes it's meetings the president in the Oval Office. So, you get a lot of pictures of people with prime minister and presidents, but remember, what's the significance of Oval Office? Anybody? Anyone? You know it. That's the official office of the President of the United States. That's the office. So business gets conducted of the United States in that office. So this is us, the President signing a bill, a healthcare bill, and this is of course meeting. So remember that picture, it's important. Remember that. You're going to see another picture like this in a minute. So remember that. There will be a test afterwards, by the way. Dr. Gupta told me there will be a quiz. And sometimes it's leading international partnerships to address the global welfare. So if you look at the picture on your extreme left, anybody knows who that is? That's President Petro, president of the country of Colombia. So, in the United States, we are always monitoring who's getting elected and where and how do we work with them. We have 200-year-old relationship with the country of Colombia, prime producers of cocaine and trafficking. And so this was a progressive leftist president, has a very different views than the predecessors, and was elected. So the question came, how do we deal with that? So I guess we decided to send me as the first team to lead right after his inauguration. So I'm leading the team of the U.S. delegation, sitting with him in his cabinet, and we introduce ourselves, and he goes on a rant for 2 hours. What has the United States done bad, wrong? Lecture, professor. He starts from 1800s, by the way, and goes through the whole history because he's a PhD. And we're listening and everything, and as we get closer to it, the 2 hours, my ambassador passes me a note and says, "We're running out of time. Why don't you just be the only one to respond to him?" And I was like, okay, so I have to respond. But again, these are the things that create or build or destroy a relationship with leaders. So you have to acknowledge the problems, but you have to also work for the future. But as we were talking, you know what he said to me right after we met? He said, "I watched Tagore on Netflix." Of all the things. That's what he cared about to me. So your influence is bigger, greater than you think it is. Similarly, these are the pictures we've had recently with various cabinet secretaries, Secretary Blinken, Attorney General, myself with Mexicans. It's a delegation we just had meeting last month in Mexico. This is in Vienna. We have a UN Counter Narcotics Commission on Narcotics Drugs, and this year I was representative for the United States. So just like you get 3 minutes, you can complain, you can sing praises, you can do whatever for your country or somebody else's country. So, or you can set the path of the future for the world. And that's exactly what we do as the United States. And then, I told you to remember that picture, right? So, this is the same place where we saw Prime Minister Modi when he visited in June, Biden in the White House. And the picture on your left is, of course, what is that? No, that one. So G20. So you can see the relationship with the two leaders, the closeness, the warmth, and the strategic partnership, way beyond and historic than ever. So when the Prime Minister came, you can see on the picture to the left, we had like, I don't know, 7,000 people of Indian origin show up at the White House to greet him. Like the largest ever of any leader, ever. And you can see at the bottom. And then we had state dinner that Seema and I were able to attend, and it was just a fun event. And of course, a lot of exchanges, but the Prime Minister spoke well. Following day, we had a lunch as well with the Prime Minister. And in the evening, I got to sit down with him before an event, and we talked. So I asked him, what do you think about mental health? What do you think about all of these things? And he said, a family for a child is like a university. You learn so much when you're a child. From your parents, from your grandparents, from your uncles and aunts. And then that's where the child really becomes a politician also. Because you know who can give you money, who can give you candy, who can give you clothing, whatever you need, will let you go out and nobody will tell on you. So we had this great 30, 40-minute conversation. And it's clear he understood the issues, and he really acknowledged and asked people to visit India to see for themselves. So this was great. So then brings me to a point that I've talked about leaders, I've talked about world leaders, and the effectiveness of that. So I want to share with you why that's different. Because it's critical that you are differentiating between management, whether it's managing your practice or whatever you're going to do, and being a leader. So management is about managing complexity, your budget, everyday things, this, that, and other. True leadership is about coping with change. How do you deal with change? How do you not give up? How do you align people, set direction, and become motivating and inspiring? So, I don't know if you all can see this. Can you all see this okay? So think about leadership, authenticity as an onion. Onion, you peel layers and layers and layers. So on the outside of the layer is how you look, your appearance. And you're going to be all, I know many of you are obsessed with it. I know Drew is. I'm just kidding. Your leadership style and your body language, how do you do? All of those things. But if you start to move inside, at the base is when you have authenticity of leadership. And that's about understanding your own life story, understanding who you are, and being truthful and honest and authentic to yourself. And that's what's important. And understanding your blind spot, understanding things that get you mad, things that you can't control. All those things are important. And leadership really skills are at this junction of technical, cognitive, and emotional intelligence. So you're here because you're here to reach a lot of technical skills. This is technical education. You're also going to be using your cognitive skills to achieve that technical goal. But you need to also think about learning emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence is the sign of leadership. Know when to speak and know when to not speak. Know when to raise hands when I ask you to and know when not to. So let me end by this, and we'll be happy. I want to just make sure we have a conversation and take questions. The way forward in the 21st century is going to be that, all of us, everybody, you all possess the incredible power to change the world. But you have to do it one day at a time. As I shared with you my journey, it was one day at a time. But the world can't be changed without you changing your thinking at that time and evolving that thinking. You can't stay stale in your thinking and expecting to change the world. But remember, you're being trained in the most powerful weapon right here, education. Most powerful. At one of the best institutions. We were talking about today how so many leaders from UCMS, or whether it's health, General Health Services, and so many places, MCI, so many places. But also know that for true leaders, whatever you do matters. And real integrity is when nobody's watching you. What you do matters then, because that's about yourself. So it's really important that to be that leader, to take that journey, you look at something, yourself in the face, in the mirror every day, and answer those questions. We're going to go to hopefully see the hostel afterwards. And I can tell you, how many of you are in hostels? Okay. So know that, you get to do a lot, you get to have a lot of advantage in what you do. I was the mess secretary for a lot of months. I absolutely enjoyed it, except I almost never ate lunch there, because I would go to Vivek Vihar or someplace else. The food wasn't, the dinners were great. But those are the kind of things. You have to enjoy your time. I certainly did, and I cherish the value and the importance of this institution. But also understand that this is your time to build that path forward, build your plan forward. Use a lot of that thinking skills to think what you want to do next. And part of that's figuring out not where things are today, not where they were yesterday, but where they will be 5, 10, 20 years from today. And how do you plan for that? The biggest mistake or the biggest challenge people make is working on today, never thinking about what happens tomorrow. It's really important. So if you think artificial intelligence is going to be important, then you should be thinking about that. If you think remote learning is going to be important, remote clinical practice will be important, you should be thinking about that. So things will change faster in the next 10, 15 years than they have changed in the last 50 years. But you have to be prepared. So with that, I think we can take some questions. Dr. Gupta.
for sharing your insight. Now I'd request Principal Sir to please felicitate Dr. Rahul. So we'll have a Q&A session after this. I'll request Principal Sir, please. So we have a token, a memento of appreciation and the shawl for Sir. So it's from the UCMS family for you.
This is for a drawing room or sales office.
So we also have along with this, we are presenting Sir with the souvenirs, the Golden Jubilee souvenir and the current souvenir of the college. And we have few publications from the college, the Medical Research Unit, the Medical Education Unit Bulletin. So as memory, we are giving you these, sir. I'll request the family to be there for a group photograph with Sir. Ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to present you with the seal of the United States of America.
Oh.
I accept this humbly on behalf of the entire UCMS.
Signed by President Joe Biden.
Ma'am, please join, sir, please join, sir, with, for a photograph. I'll request Dr. Amir, sir, Professor from Community Medicine, to moderate the Q&A session.
Thank you, Dr. Rahul Gupta, for this talk on leadership, and you walk the talk, I will say. So what wonderful memories you bring along with, and the students are also excited. Any questions, please, most welcome. Yes, sir, please. Students, are you ready? So the first question has come from the faculty. Okay.
So, Dr. Rahul, welcome to UCMS. I am Dr. Arun Sharma. I am currently looking after the research program, but I had the opportunity to be associated with the drug abuse control program in USA. I was on a NIDA fellowship, and my mentor was Dr. Wallace Mandel from Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. For a year I was there. And we had the opportunity to look at the correction centers and the rehabilitation program of drug substance abuse. I want your opinion and your advice that in India, in spite of the office of the UNDCP located in India, we do not have the mainstreaming of substance abuse as a public health problem. It is still being seen as a law and order issue and dealt in that way. So, what lessons you would like to bring to India from the US example, which can do the mainstreaming and recognize substance abuse as a mental health problem primarily, and then look for more correction centers rather than the prisons for them? I want your opinion on that.
Thank you, Doctor. So, for students, I told you there was the quiz, and Dr. Gupta is going to be monitoring here. So, what is the budget control of my office? Okay. So, in the United States, it used to be 90% went to law and order, 10% went to public health. Today, we propose now a 46 billion, 57% goes to public health, and 43% goes to law and order. So, we've done the thing that what you mentioned for 50 years in the United States. It has not worked. So what we always advise for other countries, including India, is you don't have to take 50 years to have a failed policy. You can change early. You can learn from other countries. And the important lesson we had, which we're turning around now, is people addiction is a brain disease. And just like diabetes, you will not tell a person with diabetes, hey, just eat right, exercise, and don't worry, you'll be fine. Heart disease, we will not say that. We treat people, sometimes lifelong, for these diseases. Just like that, addiction is also a brain disease. And we need to recognize that, move the stigma out of the system. And when in America, there are 48 million people with addiction today. And a fraction of them in treatment, basically. So the numbers are really high in India also. But we need to take it as a public health problem, you're right, and first and foremost, invest in it. All the public health prevention, intervention, harm reduction, treatment, and recovery. Just 2 weeks ago, I did a press conference with the state governor, Republican, opposite party, Governor Sununu in New Hampshire, and the chief medical officer of Google, like a big Google, and talked about why it's important to help people in recovery, treatment, and recovery. Because recovery is a lot more about than treatment. It's about getting a job, housing, transportation, all this. When you do that, you can actually help people survive and do better. It helps the economic aspect as well. So I think it's important that for a country like India, you don't go through the same problem for 50 years before recognition. Latin American countries have been telling us for a long time, and we never listened until now. So this administration now is looking at this as a primarily public health problem, but also a national security and economic prosperity.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Yes, please. Oh, lots of questions suddenly. Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Tanishka Singh. I'm a first-year student. My question is that there is a major part of the Indian population in the depths which consume low-grade cheap medicines only because of the drugs which are contained in them. This is also a form of drug abuse, and there are laws made by the Indian government to keep a check on this, but they still don't seem to be working because it still exists. So how can we revive this part? How can we revive this part of the population? How can we relieve them from drug abuse?
What type of medication are you talking about?
The local medicines made by the local people which contain drugs like, for example, methanol, which is consumed by people. Methanol is poisonous, so like the local alcohols made by people, or the medicines which are made by the local chemists.
Right. Yeah, so I think having a strong regulatory system in the country that prevents that regulates medications as drugs that can save your life, but can also kill you. So methanol is a very great example of how many people die each year because of methanol poisoning. And we have the same problem in the United States, which is, but it's a different type of problem, which is people are ordering drugs online. They think it's oxycodone, or they think it's diazepam, but it ends up being fentanyl, and people die from it. So it's a similar kind of problem. Problems used to be very widely different across the world. They're coming together to be very similar. And what's going to have to happen is we have to have strong and good regulations so that people aren't playing with others, especially people's lives who are not like educated or know any better, maybe more socioeconomic status people.
So thank you for that question. And you being a first year student, I think so the questions are coming for you as a policy maker. I think. Okay, not as a senior. Okay, more questions. Please. You had raised the hand after that.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, recently there have been many articles that a new unknown disease X, can spread, which can be a pandemic now. Sir, the UK vaccine task force has claimed that it would be as lethal as the Ebola virus and as infectious as the measles virus. So we need to make the vaccine prototypes to prevent it from happening, another global pandemic. So what are your views on that? Should we invest in the research, or first we should see treating the population the existing diseases?
So I'll put my physician hat on now. So it's really always important to monitor for emerging threats, emerging diseases. Now, a lot of times diseases do not fully emerge. What that means is that you may have a cluster of cases and it dies out. You can also have diseases that emerge but are endemic. For example, the area called Four Corners in the United States. And they have typically a number of cases, let's just say certain disease. But it doesn't go beyond that. So I think what's critical is to monitor disease. Those are emerging. Keep an eye on them, and have a trigger available at what point you start to take the next phase, which is to develop countermeasures. And then obviously inform the population, and then take public health. So if you look at the WHO criteria, that's what it does. There's a criteria of surveillance. There's a criteria of emerging threat of less importance, emerging threat of higher importance. There's a criteria for that. We do the same thing with drugs also. It's not infectious disease and drugs are not that different. So I declare this drug called xylazine, which is an animal tranquilizers, for the first time in the history of the United States as an emerging threat back in April in the United States. So we found enough data that it's become a problem now. And so we started taking action against it. So they're very similar, communicable and non-communicable special threats. But the important piece is having a strong surveillance program that is monitoring, and its investment in as monitoring for emerging threats.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I would like you to share some bittersweet memories from the classrooms of UCMS or from the hostels of UCMS. Okay, I'm coming.
Well, I mean, look, I was right here, and same, these same desks, same everything. So was my colleague here, Nilima Gupta, and Seema, and Dr. Navani as well. So I think what I can share is that you have hard times, you have tough times, you also have fun times. Some of us get in trouble more than others. Today, when I came over, we went to the principal's office to think about it, right? And while Dr. Gupta was so kind to have us there, I really had PTSD. Because the last time I went in there, I was in trouble.
Can you elaborate, please?
There were many instances, but one time we had a colleague of ours that had a situation who was hospitalized, and I think some of us went up there to ask the principal, why can't we get one of the buses to take us to see her and take the day off? You might remember that. And the principal, whom I will not name, said, what difference are you going to make by going? Go back too fast. Again, it's a perspective. Maybe he was right, but at the time it didn't feel right. So we took it hard.
Thank you, sir. You wanted to.
Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for that insightful talk. I would like to ask you, why do you look towards the USA as a future rather than India for your future career aspirations?
I could ask you the same question 5 years and you'll be on my side. Look,
Look, what I will tell you is this. Don't be a part of hair job. Okay? You should make your own decisions for the right reasons. One of the things that I was always afraid of is that I didn't want my children to grow up and say, you made a mistake. And that's why I work so hard every day. So they don't say that because this country has a lot of potential. It has a lot of potential both to grow, to develop, to innovate, and we're seeing that. But at the same time, I think it's an individual decision you have to think through. And once I will use this very simple principle. It's the same reason that I've changed my career from predominantly seeing patients to predominantly being policy. The ability to have greater impact. That's the ultimate way. So you should think about how can you maximize your training, your skill set, your thinking, your unique perspective, however you think, to be the best you can be for the people, whether it's this country or another country. How can you have the most impact? If you use that as your measuring stick, I think you'll make the right decision.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir. I think my question builds on something that Dr. Sharma addressed. So the US has sanctioned studies, especially in New York sites, for supervised injection sites as a method to not only destigmatize drug use but also to reduce rates of infections caused by such programs. And it moves beyond something that occurred in syringe exchange program, something that you've also endorsed in your career in West Virginia. So I just wanted to know what is your opinion on such sites, and is the administration considering pushing more such sites?
That's a really good question. So for everybody's understanding, when you have a certain population that has suffering from addiction, just like smoking or drinking, same thing. You just can't ask people to stop. You have to figure out how to help people. That's the concept of meeting people where they are and helping them move forward. It's also called harm reduction. So somebody that smokes, you could say, well, nicotine inhaler may be a good way to replace the toxic chemical carcinogens in tobacco smokes with pure nicotine. Because they still get the higher nicotine, but they're not getting higher risk of cancer, more or less. That's harm reduction. Same way it's for drugs. But what you have to have is you have to have good sound evidence, and you can be either evidence-based and data-driven or not. It's choice. So we in this administration are the first administration in the history of the United States to put harm reduction in the policy of the U.S. government. So we've gone from funding $0 to $500 million, $500 million. That is in harm reduction. Now, what do we fund? We fund naloxone, which is an opioid overdose medication. We fund syringe service programs, which is exchanging needles that people use to spread HIV, and others with clean needles. We just saw that at EYM program today in Barakpur, that they're also doing it. And we went fund drug testing strips because drugs like fentanyl, 50 to 100 times more potent than heroin or morphine. They can be hidden in drug supply. So you could test the strip. If it's positive fentanyl, you will at least know that you could die. Those things are great evidence behind them. There are emerging programs, emerging science, but they have to be rigorously tested in a context that they can move forward. And then they have to be regular. So we're always monitoring what's coming up, but then not waiting for it before when people are dying. An American dies 5 minutes around the clock from drug overdose in America. So we have to do something right now. So what we have done now is we have naloxone drug available over the counter. So two products. People can walk into any pharmacy, pick it up, pay for it, and go. They don't have to have a prescription anymore. So we've done that type of thing. We've distributed 9 million doses last year. Saved 500,000 lives out of that. That's the important piece. And then again, whether it's other sites, there will always be experiments that keep going on, and we just wait for the full evidence, and then we look at the policy from there.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Shukla just wanted to ask it.
Just a technical question. As a policy maker, how does your the investment strategies versus, because we are celebrating the World Antimicrobial Awareness Week from 18 to 24th, and antimicrobial resistance is rising. So, and there are in the market, as you said, there are thousands, 4,000, so many drugs, oncology drugs. Antimicrobials today, there may be 30 undergoing trials. Why such less antibiotics are on trial? And what are your strategies when you take a policy making decision versus antimicrobials versus the other drugs?
So I'll answer part of microbial and then go back to the part about how do you efficiently execute policy? How do you invest in policy? I'll use drugs as an example for that. The antimicrobial, and I've been a PI for a lot of antimicrobials, principal investigator for clinical trials in the past. You have to compare them to the gold standard. You can't compare them against placebo. You can't compare them anything less than gold standard. So for instance, there's a gold standard available for antimicrobial. Whatever your product is has to compare with that. Nothing less. Because that wouldn't be fair. So that's one of the things. The other is the emergence of resistance, and the third one is innovation into new ways, new technologies, and new drugs. That is part of the thing. But at the end of the day, I think what's also important is to know that when it comes to antimicrobial, there's a lot of things that can be done that is a low-hanging fruit that could help us address the resistance piece that we're not doing oftentimes. Now, in speaking in terms of how do you impact policy, you need good data to impact good policy and to invest. I'll give you an example. When I showed you, we have 110,000 Americans that die every year. 110,000. So that is only the tip of the iceberg. Beneath these, the tip of the iceberg is the number of people who have non-fatal overdoses. That's several million people that have overdosed, but they are safe. Beneath these is 48 million Americans that are suffering from addiction. So it's like triage. First you have to triage to see how many people can you save from dying. But there's no data. So we now have publication under publication manuscript. We looked at incarceration data. So in the United States, anybody can guess how many people are incarcerated every day. Okay. 2 million. 2 million Americans incarcerated every single day. They're in prisons every day. Now, how many of them do you think is related to drugs? Anybody? 75%? That's about right. Think about it. 75-80% of people that are in the United States prison are because of something about drugs. And total two-thirds of those people, 2 million, have substance use, have addiction. So what do we do? We don't treat them when they're incarcerated. So what happens? What happens is when they're released, two things can happen. Either they will have a 129-fold increase likelihood of dying after release because their tolerance goes down and they die overdose. Or their mental health and other things aren't treated, so they go back and reincarceration. Anyway, if you're paying for it. So how many people under 10,000 do you think is that? 27,000. So we calculated on paper that up to 27,000 people that die is because of that. So now we're changing policy to require prisons and jails to treat people. And we think we can save 17,000 lives a year if we did that. So this is again, you look at where you get the most juice for your squeeze, and you go after money behind that. That's evidence based. People do it out of politics based. They'll do it feeling based. They'll do spiritual based. They'll do I want to do this based. But this is evidence based.
Thank you, sir. So one thing is clear that the policymaker must know about a lot of data and statistics. Okay, yes, Sudharman.
Thank you, sir, for the talk. And I'm Sudharman. I'm a third-year student here. So I was looking at fentanyl crisis, and we are a major exporter of at least the raw materials that then go to Mexico and then get smuggled to the United States. So I was wondering if, from your conversations with your counterparts here, if this is a crisis waiting to happen in India as well. You can't really. I mean, it's a crisis waiting to happen, and if it is, then why hasn't it happened already? Could you delve into some factors there?
Guys are really good policy questions. Yeah. So you may know that last week President Biden and President Xi of China met, and there was a big meeting, several hours, and two decisions came out primarily. A lot of things. One was to have military contact. The other was to resume counter narcotics cooperation. I can go into detail, but the thing is, I landed at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning here, and from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight on Sunday, I did more than 20 media interviews in like 350 markets about this. Because that's the role I have to be the spokesman for these things. So the question is, if we are successful with China in reducing the shipment of chemicals and other things to Mexico, who's next? And we believe that there's a high likelihood it could be India. So this is exactly when we're talking to the ministries and Narcotics Control Bureau, DRI, and others, that's the message we're telling them. We have a great working relationship with the Indian counterparts. For the last 3 years. We've been doing a lot of progressive things. In fact, the bilateral agreement that came out from the Prime Minister's visit to White House has some of these policy umbrellas. And the goal now is to make sure that we have solid diversion prevention in India, so India doesn't become the next China.
Thank you. Hara.
Hi, sir. Dr. Hara this side, resident in Department of Pharmacology. Just wanted to understand, you mentioned a couple of things regarding entrepreneurship, talking about tech and AI. So we all are listening about Sam Altman firing and joining Microsoft as a CEO in the different capacity. So just wanted to understand, how do you think the role of primarily tech startups working in the space of generative AI? And also you talked about data modeling. So how they're collaborating with the US drug policy bodies, and going forward, what's the future you think of?
Thank you. So there's a lot of work happening in collaboration between United States and India on tech, on all of these sectors, research included. And we're just the beginning of a lot of the work that's ongoing. Science and technology is so important between two countries that leading that is going to be really important. So some of the technology that exists and can be dual use with India as well is very important. I will also say at the same time that people contact is also important. For example, I have a colleague in the United States who works his company here who look at misinformation in media. So he uses AI to diagnose misinformation in the news, and that's what his job is. We also have a lot of startup entrepreneurs in the United States. Some of them are of Indian American origin that are having it. So I think it's a great opportunity for the relationship of people to people there. I tell you, without putting him on the stand, my son is one of those. And this is the thing. When you develop these artificial intelligence models, it's really important to collaborate with the two countries, but not just governments, but people to people. And that is already happening in many levels, but it can happen more.
Hello everybody. Sir, I had the same question Amir sir had, but I thought we had reserved conservative answer from your side. So I'd like to hear CM's perspective on it. CM, please tell how was he in the college and how have you seen him evolve from the backbenches of the UCMS to having a seat at the Oval Office and all that. Please share it.
मेरे बारे में सारी
This is a joint question, I think.
Well, can you repeat the question again?
Two parts to the question. One, how was he in the college? What were his hobbies? Was he a romantic and all that? If you just excuse my intrusion and all. Second, how have you seen him evolve? What changes did you see in his personality? When he was on, I presume, on the backbenches of the UCMS, as he told us, and the Oval Office and meeting and having been the most powerful on the planet.
So I will tell you, my son, one of my son is here with us, so, you know, I always, yeah, I'm just gonna clean it up. So the first thing, you know, in our time, there were few girls, like in a class of 100, so there was just like 9 or 10 girls, right, Nilima? So, like, most of the girls, they were in the Lady Harding Medical College, so we have the scarcity of girls. There was like 90 boys. The one that I liked about Rahul because there's a lot of you know boys.
Lot of competition.
Yeah. Rahul was always sincere. He was very sincere. He will say something and he will do it. Yeah. But yes, of course, he was very shy. He was very shy. And in fact, I was the one who proposed, right? I think that's my answer.
Thank you.
I must appreciate Rahul and Seema that they are so loyal to UCMS. In those days, the boys were always to Lady Harding. One of our alumni recently met and the students also clapped that he had a wife who was a Hardonian. So now the girls are enough. I think more than 50% are girls, so remain loyal to UCMS.
Thank you, Dr. Seema. Yes.
Hello, sir. So my question is probably not directed to the policy maker, Dr. Rahul, rather a senior from the UC family. So my question will be, as an Indian who ventured into America as a doctor, then as a policy maker, how do you advise us students who are sitting here to find our niche and, exactly like you said, not follow the bhed chal for the diverse opportunities that are present apart from India, in India as well, but apart from India, into a different culture, everything, and how to actually tap into those plethora of opportunities that lie in front of us, and exactly like how to carve a niche for ourselves, so that probably in the next 30 to 40 years, some of us would be sitting on that side of the dais rather on this side.
Well, that's part of my aspiration, right? So that's subsection of you are. But here's the ultimate thing. You know, we worry about also copy my idea, my work, or my paper exams. I can tell you, I've done all of those things. Sitting right here on exams. My friends have been gracious to let me. When I did my first year, when I finished my exams first year, I went home and I was guaranteed I was going to pass. I don't know how. So, but one thing is clear. You have to do your own homework. What people can't copy is your innovation, your ideas, thought process. So when I became the health officer and the commissioner in West Virginia, my children were in high school, and I can tell you how many kids in high school that wanted to do public health. And they wanted to go together. They did all their projects in public health in school, and they would tell me excited. Same thing, but there hadn't been a person that looks like ever in the 100-year history of the state to be the commissioner. Same thing when I this job right now, this gig, this hasn't happened before. I'm sure there were ton of smarter than me physicians that came through, but that wasn't something that happened. So I think there's enough uniqueness for all of you to think about, but you have to be innovative, creative. How do you create your own space? Now, if you look at Steve Jobs, if you look at Bill Gates, if you look at people that are successful, one of the features is they create a niche and they figure things out before others do on what people want or what they want out of the system. And that's something that you have to do yourself. It requires hard work. What doesn't happen is to copy somebody else. That's what the HR point was. Yeah. I'll tell you one more thing. If you do that, there will become a time, especially when you're in the 50s, you will be frustrated. With other people call it midlife crisis, you will be. So you gotta be doing what your passion is. You gotta pursue your passion.
Thank you. Just two more questions. Dr. Manisha, I said you wanted to.
Dr. Rahul, how do you see the link between this drug money and terror funding?
So in some countries, there would be a link. India is one of that. Those. We know that, for example, there are other countries where for example, drugs like Captagon, which are also synthetic, potentially fund mass. We know that relationship occurs. We know about Afghanistan for a long time. Everybody knows that. We know the shipments and transit that happens in the Golden Triangle, Pakistan, all of that. So I think there really is. I'll give you an example. We've been chasing this for a long time. One of the other new things we have done in this administration that maybe it's because I'm a Bania. We developed a plan to go after their money. We call that commercial disruption. So what we are now doing in federal government is to not what happens if you go after the head of a cartel. You chop the head off, another one pops up. Chop it off, another one pops up. So what you have to do is you have to suck the money line out, the blood that flows through the veins. And that's not only the cartels or bad actors, but it's their brokers, it's their accountants, it's their wealth managers, it's those legitimate people that deal with a lot of other people. You stop that, and the whole system goes array. You cause chaos. So some of the work we're doing right now is exactly that. We're denying the money, denying the profits, so that these things. We did the same thing with terror. If you think about Al-Qaeda and others, that was the strategy. Went after the money, funding mechanisms. We're doing the same thing now with drugs as well.
Thank you. And one question from.
Hi. I'm joint registrar in the college, Rangabhashyam. For the last almost 1 hour, we have been talking about drug control, addiction, substance use and all that. You are the helm of affairs at the drug control office. Tell us how intoxicated are you with this position?
It's a great question. So every day as I walk in the White House and on the lawns, you can't feel the amazement of going to work to the most powerful place on the planet. But at the same time, recognize that you're going to also have to move on as well. So it's that. So you end up. Okay, what can I do as a legacy while I'm here? Because you have to understand this is not timeless. So the way I work with my team, so I've given my team enough work. This is the Thanksgiving week. And I've given them all tasks by the time I get back. Because I said we have 4 quarters, just like a business CEO. 1 year left in this administration. May get reelected, may all of that doesn't matter. And we have to double down, accelerate, and put everything on steroids. Because what drives me every day, I wake up and say, we lost 300 people yesterday. And I'm going to do everything I can to stop one person today, make it 299 today. And that's the point that drives you every day. But yeah, I mean, look, we were just at the Vice President's Diwali celebration last week and a half ago. We held the moderated panel with the Vice President, eight state attorneys general recently. So doing prep with her. So there's a lot of things that happened that get exciting. We had Elton John was there. We had a lot of we regular fun stuff too. The state dinner was really impressive. We had all the CEOs you can name, everybody who's who, from Ralph Lauren to whoever. But you have to understand that this is just Maya in some ways. It's out there, and you have to look at what's important and what's your mission. At the end of the day, it's about saving lives and having an impact for the United States and for the world, because this is a global threat. And that's just true to it. You follow that mission. Otherwise, do whatever you want.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite group, please. So we have asked a lot of questions, Rahul Gupta. Now Dr. Dhruv will ask questions. Dr. Dhruv, you have some questions also. It should not be one way, okay? So the students here are asking questions, so students from Harvard can also ask questions.
So all the students out there, how's medical school so far? No. Yeah, it is a challenge. Yeah, I hear that. I'm a fourth year right now at medical school, and my first year was pretty tough, but I don't know if it's any word advice, but it gets better. So have faith. Dhruv, when you are in Harvard Medical School, did it ever occur to you that you will be visiting one of the best colleges in the world, UCMS? Okay, that was not a question. Okay, I understand. All right. Remember when I was applying to medical school during my last year of college, and I asked my parents, do you think I would have a shot at UCMS? Yeah. Wow. They're like, no. So I had to go to Harvard instead. Okay. Yeah. But I will say, from my parents and their college stories about the hard work and the commitment it takes to go to medical school in India, particularly at a place like UCMS. So to all the students, congratulations on where you are right now, and hope that we can call in the future.
Thank you for being such a sport. Thanks a lot. So that we are winding up the question and answer session, and I would like to invite Professor Satyendra for the vote of thanks. Thank you, Dr. Rahul Gupta. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amir. So after the brilliant talk by Dr. Rahul, I'm not a poet, but I have penned few lines after hearing his inspiring talk. In the halls where knowledge blooms, a tale unfolds dispelling gloom. An alumnus returns with pride. Dr. Gupta's journey, profound guide. In the second year, roll number 95. In the second year, when books were thumped, the ONDCP seed in his heart was plumped. The ONDCP began operation in the year 1899. A promise to heal, a mission to pursue. Little did we know the height would view. To the White House, he did ascend. An immigrant doctor, a crisis to mend. A poet's grip, he sought to release. A healer's touch, a quest for peace. Advancing medicine, a noble cause. Amid challenges that life could pause. Securing borders, a duty profound. Indo-US relations, a partnership found. As alumni return, beacon bright, guiding features with wisdom flight. Dr. Gupta, a tale untold in the chapters of success, courage unfolds. This event marks a momentous gigantic occasion, reigniting memories right from the mess timings to Lady Harding to all those sort of things, forging connections from Harvard to UC, seeking inspiration within our institution. The presence of Dr. Rahul Gupta, Dr. Seema, both from the 1988 batch, and Abdullah, this is to respond to your query that the batch 1988, the class of 1988 was the most romantic year of batch in the sense we have had an example in front of us, but also there was a year when two very romantic movies were released. Not the first row. Anybody can answer? I Mere Humsafar from QSQT, Qayamat and कह दो कि तुम मेरी वरना from my favorite Anil Kapoor Tezab. Alongside our trailblazing alumni, Dr. Tyagi as well as Dr. Divya. This has truly illuminated our hall, selected one radiance of achievement and the promise of what our alma mater chills in every student. Our heartfelt gratitude goes to Dr. Bindu Kumar, who is not here, but he was the person behind all this, and Dr. Rotagi for initiating this dialogue, and to Professor Unga, and Mr. Applegarth, the US Embassy, for taking this forward. A special thanks to the media as well as the radio for their presence. We hope that this remarkable story shared far and wide. My sincere appreciation to all the wonderful students, the faculty members, the staff present over here because they work tirelessly behind the scenes. The list is extensive, so I'm not going to the details, but on behalf of the entire UCMS fraternity and the international cell of UCMS, we express our profound gratitude. Thank you once again, and please feel free to take your refreshments when you go outside. But before that, I can have one photograph of the entire lecture theatre with all the dignitaries and the coordinators of all the student societies. We have 16 wonderful student societies, and their coordinators are here with us, and would like to have their photograph with you when you are going back downstairs in the foyer. So you all can assemble over there. And with that, thank you so much once again for inspiring.